Hello everyone, welcome to Winged Paper Crafting. My name is Angel Fitch. If you're new around here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I'm so glad you've decided to stop by my YouTube channel. Today we're going to do our second set of alternatives for the August 2026 paper pumpkin kit called Farmhouse Florals. Here are the cards that you could have made if you had done this as intended. So there were 3 of each design. But we're going to just step ours up a little bit. So before we get started, I want to just do a couple of housekeeping things. So right now we're in the subscription period for the November Paper Pumpkin Kit. It's going to be called Wrapped in Cheer. And there's going to be some treat boxes and some tags. And looks like there's a stamp set with a really cool wreath in it. So can't wait to get this one and get started on that. And then December's kit is going to be called Watercolor in Bloom. And this one looks like we're going to have some customizable sentiment stamps. So that's kind of new to me, so I'm kind of curious to see what that's going to entail. And then just as a general announcement here, Stampin' Up! Is currently doing a wonderful join initiative. And if you've been thinking about joining Stampin' Up, either, to do a business or just as a hobby demonstrator, just to get the discount, which is what I did when I first started, this is a great incentive here to get started. So the first incentive they're doing here is $125 worth of product for $35. And you get business supplies and a free past paper pumpkin kit with that, so that you get a little introduction to the actual paper pumpkin kits. It's not a current kit. It'll be something that they've got some extra inventory from some past ones. But this is a wonderful idea. So for $35, no shipping. Shipping is free. You can pick $125 of product out of the catalog. Either out of the any catalog that's currently available. So we've got the annual catalog, and then we've got a mini catalog right now that's kind of like the Halloween Christmas catalog. And we have a lot of online exclusives that are just simply on the website. You can pick anything, doesn't matter. Like, there's no restrictions on what you can get for your $35, as long as you can't go over the $125 mark in value. Then the second promotion, which is even better than the first, you get $189 worth of product for $99. Same criteria. You get business supplies, you get the free paper pumpkin, and shipping is free. So this is a fantastic offer. So if you've been thinking about it or would like to have any more information, there'll be a link in the description below where you can click on that and find out more information. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out and ask. I am glad to answer any of those. I would love to have you join my team. So let's go ahead and get started on our cards. So we're going to start with a kind of easy one. So I've got some things here. I've got a card base that is basic beige. That is 8.5 by 5.5. Scored at 4 1/4. I'll be okay. I don't know why. So just having that little break for 2 or 3 weeks, my mind cannot get back into this. I have a piece of Calypso coral that is 4 by 5 1/4. And we're going to put that on the front here. So let's go ahead and get that down. So this is going to be our first layer on top of our card base. So we're just going to use some tape runner here. And yes, I still need to order some Stampin' Seal. Trust me, it's in my order. I just need to get that put together. Okay, so we're going to put that on there. And then we're going to take, this was one of the card punch-out pieces that was in the kit. And it's just so pretty. We're going to put that right here in the middle. And I think we're going to keep this flat. So I just, again, going to put tape runner. And then we'll pop up our little sentiment. So we're going to center that, just like that. Okay, a tiny little circle here that I cut out from the Spotlight on Nature dies. Anybody that's been around here for a while knows that I love these dies. There is nothing better than nesting dies, but these are just wonderful. For first of all, you get a lot of dies. So 2 whole sheets of these circles. And the circles are all different in the fact that the decoration around the outside edges are all different. So the big one on this sheet is different from the big one on this sheet. So it's kind of the same repeating patterns throughout, but just different sizes for each of them, which is just so cool. So I used the tiniest little one on this sheet right here for this little sentiment piece, and we're going to stamp a very tiny little word on it using Calypso Coral. Yeah, I can talk today. We're going to do this little hello, which came from the stamp set that is in the kit. So it is, hang on, it is, so here were the stamp sets. There were 2 in this kit, and the hello was on this one. So right down here in the corner. So this little hello is what we're going to put on our little tiny circle here. We're going to use Calypso Coral ink. So let me get that open. And we will ink up our baby little hello stamp. Now, with these tiny little stamps, you have to be a little careful in that if you press too hard, it will distort the image. So you kind of have to just be careful not to push too awful hard when you put these down. Because you don't want a, like, fuzzy image. Just going to give that a second. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Then I've got another piece over here. This is our inside piece. This is 5 by 4 1/4, as long as we're stamping. What I'm going to put on the inside is going to be this right here that says, always here for you. So let's go ahead and get that inked up. And we'll get that down. I'm going to just line my little paper piece of cardstock up here with one of the lines on the glass mat so I can say we started straight. You know, it doesn't always mean that we'll end straight, but at least we started straight. There we go. Perfect. All right, I'm going to put the ink away. Now, let's go ahead and get this on the inside of our card. So this is going to be a really quick card. And that's what you find with these kits that come with these front pieces that do all the work for you. It makes it so simple to get these all together and, you know, ready for you can send out. Okay, we're going to take our little hello and we're going to pop that up on a dimensional. And we're just going to put that right down here in the bottom corner. So I put that there, and all we need left now is some bling. I'm going to use these antique pearls. I think they go so well with this kind of country, you know, feeling here. These pearls are just wonderful. So we're going to take them and we're going to put one. Let's see. Let's put one here. And I think there's only, let's see, it looks like there's 3 sizes. So that was a medium one. I'm going to do a small one now here. And maybe we'll do a large one. And we will put it right, let's see, where can we put this one? Maybe right down here in the corner. I just want to move it just a little bit away from the sentiment. There we go. About right there. Perfect. Okay, and there's our little hello card. I just love Calypso Coral, but it just brings out these flowers so good. Okay, move on to our second one. So we are going to do for this one, we're going to start with a piece of Lost Lagoon. That's 8.5 by 8.5 by 4 1/4. You know, same deal. 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I'm gonna give it a nice burnish, just like that. So there's our base. Now for this one, I took a piece of another piece of Lost Lagoon, 5 by 4 1/4, and then I ran this through a embossing folder, and I used the Simply Zinnia one. I wanted flowers, so I wanted flowers to go with the flowers here. It is a retired embossing folder, but you could use any embossing folder that you wanted to put in the back. It just gives it some texture. So let's go ahead and put this down. So we will get this centered up. Okay. Now, this was a card front that was, 8.5 by 5.5 in its original state. And I took the, again, Spotlight on Nature die. I took the largest circle. So this one on this one, this sheet here that has this kind of striped pattern around it. And I just centered that around, over this typewriter here and cut that out of the card base. Now, we're going to put that here in the middle of our card, but before we do, I'm going to stamp on this little piece of paper here that's on our typewriter. So, let me get that stamp out of the way. So, this one is going to say Just a Note. And that is also from the stamp set that came in the kit. It is right here. So, this Just a Note. So, we're going to put that right here in the middle of our typewriter paper. And we are going to use Lost Lagoon for this. So, let's ink this up. Again, kind of small stamp, so you got to be careful with the pressure because you don't want to mess it up, particularly on this because it's not like I can start again, right? So we'll get this right down here in the middle. I'm just gonna let the ink sink in just a little bit. There we go. Just a note. How cute is that? Okay. So that's going to go on the front of our card there. On the inside then, we're going to put this little sentiment, which says, what does this one say? It says, you're simply the best. So let me kind of straighten this one up here. We'll get this on a block and we'll ink it up. We will start with our paper as straight as possible and down. And there we go. You're simply the best. Okay, the ink away. Let's get this finished here. So this, again, another quick card because our, card base on the front is doing all the work for us, which is good if you just need some quick cards. Okay, now I'm going to pop this up on some dimensionals because I think we want to give it some dimension and interest. So we will get some dimensionals all around and we'll put a couple in the middle so our middle doesn't sag. Okay, we'll get the backs off. Okay, now we're going to center this up, top to bottom and left to right, the best that we can. Okay, that looks good. So get that down. Now, so we've got our Just a Note, and we've got, you're simply the best on the inside. So the only thing left we need is some bling. And I am going to use these, if I can get them out of my little, there we go. These are earth tones, and I thought quite possibly that this greenish color up here looked a lot like Lost Lagoon. So we're going to use these. They're kind of flat, but they have some texture to them. I like them because they're flat. That makes them easier to mail. So let's go ahead and do one here. And we'll do a small one right there. And we've got one more. We'll do another big one, I guess. Let's do over here. And there we go. Just adorable. So cute, so easy. So here are 2 cards we made today. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload a video. And I will be back in a day or so with our next set of alternatives. Have a crafty day. Bye.